All right, cool. So you got these people that want to come work for you. They've seen the podcast and things like that. I want to talk about that because you're in Houston. You live in Houston with your family, which you share on social media a lot, which is really awesome to see. I think people probably connect with that aspect of your life a lot as well.
Yep.
And D&M Roofing is headquartered in Omaha, where it's been for over 50 or 60 years. And that company, I don't want to say it runs itself because I think that's a lie. That's what people probably want to believe.
Yeah.
There's a lot of attention that goes into that. But you've got a team of people that run that organization while you live in another state. So I wanted to have you on to talk about that because that's something that not everyone aspires to do, that to be able to have a company and go live somewhere else. But I think that notion of like, hey, I started this business so that I could have more freedom, so that I could have, control over my schedule and my income and who I get to work with. And I don't want to be in the business all day, every day. I want to work on the business and elevate and things like that. I think a lot of people that start a business, and myself included, at times you feel like, man, like having a job would be so much easier. Work fewer hours. I could show up. I could clock in, clock out, go on vacation. Now I've got this business that owns me and I feel like a slave to it. And I'm just like, I can't like figure out a way out of it. So I think a lot of people like will relate to certain aspects of your situation right now. So just paint a picture of what that looks like in terms of like who runs D&M in Omaha and how that works logistically.
Yeah. So it took me a while to get to that point, right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to people. It comes down to people, and that you have people that have bought into your vision, that have bought into the vision of the company and like what it stands for and who it is, because it is this like living, growing organism, right? And if you don't treat it as such, then it can fail. And so you have to get people that buy into what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? And it took me a while to do that, but I found those people, I groomed those people so that I knew that I could trust them, right? If you don't have people that you can trust, then it's not going to work. You have to keep building that, right? So back in Nebraska, I've got a general manager, I've got a director of operations, I've got a director of commercial that handles all my commercial sales and commercial builds and all that. And I'm not involved, right? Like I'm checking in daily. I'm having meetings, every week. We have team meetings, at the first of the week, every week, checking in, checking numbers, all that kind of stuff. I have a commercial meeting every week, and then, like call each other, have texts or whatever, throughout the week. But we're intentional about staying connected, right? Because if I'm sitting there in the office, what extra is actually getting done, right? I either trust them to do their job or I don't. So if I don't, then I need to go find somebody that will do their job, right? That's the thing. At the end of the day, you're not hiring people to just be your assistant. You're hiring people to own a position. And so if you're not hiring them to do that, you're not giving them the responsibility and the ability to go solve the problem, then you're just hiring a bunch of assistants. You're not hiring people that are going to actually grow your edit. So again, I don't want to say that I was lucky, because obviously I put in a lot of time and effort to figure out how to do that. But I am very grateful and fortunate that I've got the team that I have up there. And I'm already building that here, because this location's newer, right? But I'm here, right? So it's easy for me to go run into the office. But like, as much as I travel, I'm in that office, I don't know, 10, 12 days a month, right? So it's not like I'm there either, right? So before I even started it, I knew that I had to find the guy that could be an extension of me and that could buy into the vision and pass that on to every new person that comes into the business. And I found that person. And I didn't open up the location until I found that person. That was my first hire. It wasn't an assistant. It wasn't a fucking, production guy or a sales guy. I mean, he happened to be a sales guy too. But like, I had to find the person that was going to be the extension of me that I knew was going to be there every day. So you have to find those people.
How did you find that particular person?
Well, a lot of that part of that was branding. He found me.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
I didn't find him, to be completely frank. He messaged me a handful of times and I was like, dude, like, no. Like, I blew him off 2 or 3 times because he had his own thing going. And I was like, I don't really know how we'd work together. And he was like, no. Like, let's have a meeting. I'm like, all right. So we had a meeting and I'm like, okay, no, we align. Right. And I figured out that we aligned. And then I was like, I got to figure out what I got to do to get you on my team. Because my job isn't just to fill positions. It's to hire the best people and then figure out where they sit on the bus.
Awesome.
Yeah. Because if I have really good people, but maybe they're just not performing at a high level in what they're doing, then let's change their seat.
Yep.
Right? Because it costs a shitload more money to fire and hire a new person.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Time is money, all that stuff. Yeah, so great lesson there in the personal branding. Yeah, I mean, people will seek you out, and that might be customers, that might be team members, that might be people that maybe want to buy your company or partner up on some kind of commercial deal or property deal or whatever it might be. You never know. And I think there's this, like, you know, a lot of owners this day, a lot of business owners these days will say, like, man, it's so hard to find good people. Like, where do you find people, you know? And I think, you know, you don't build that brand, whether it's company brand, personal brand, or both, and it's going to be way, way harder to go out and find that.
It is. And people that say that aren't wrong. So, right. It is hard to find good people. But the difference is, though, is what are you doing when you find a person? Are you expecting them to automatically plug and play and just fucking be amazing? Or are you spending the time to groom them, right? You're giving them proper training. You're giving them the vision of your business. You're investing into them as people, right? As well. And you're doing all these things to grow them, just like somebody grew me, right? That was my grandpa. And then obviously, as I went out and like tried to learn more and tried to find mentors, all that kind of stuff, and masterminds and different groups and all that kind of stuff to be in. But am I investing in them and then getting them to invest in themselves, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't like people being in my organization that don't invest in themselves as well.
What do you mean by that? Invest in themselves? What do they do?
So one of our core values is education. And it's not just education for the client, it's education for our people. So they have to be open and willing to constantly learning, right? Constantly learning. I mean, not to be harsh, but I don't want a bunch of fat fucks in my office either.
Yeah, same
right?
Here.
Like, I mean, either care about your body, care about your life and what you're doing with it. It doesn't mean you got to be fucking ripped and go to the gym every single day, but it means that you don't eat fucking Taco Bell every day and never work out. You know what I mean? Like, are you intentional about the fact that you care about your life? Because if you're not, then you're not going to care about the business or selling or making money either. If you don't care about what you're doing, right? Like, we all can't be, you know, the Adonis Joe figure, but like we can be, you know, somewhere in between there, right? Like, but do we care about it? Yeah. So, I mean, I always want people investing in themselves as well. And part of that is me investing into them and saying, hey, I want to send you to this event or I want to send you to this training. And I'm going to provide all this stuff. I just sent 4 or 5 guys to Top Rep last week, right?
Awesome.
And what did they get? And they came back and they said, it was amazing. We learned all this stuff. But you know what the biggest feedback was that I got from every single one of them was the time that they all got to spend together.
Wow. Interesting.
And that they got to bond and connect and like really be a team. And I'm like, yes, this is what I've been telling you. Like, do you finally see my vision? They're like, dude, we're fucking bought in. Right?
Nice.
And once you get them to buy into that, then all of a sudden, as you bring new people on, it's just like a sports team, right? It's just like a football team, whatever. Because then all of a sudden rookies come in and they see that. They see that culture. They're like, ooh, I want to be part of that. Right. Mm-hmm. And then once you've built that and your seniors, you know, are doing the same thing and teaching the rookies, then, you know, like now you get to grow exponentially.
Awesome.